Hello, Donna.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine,
And we just met, and you're a spiritual practitioner and educator?
Yes, that's correct.
And you specialize in empowering one's authentic self. What does that mean?
Well, we all are here as human beings, and we
Okay.
also have a God self. And
Okay.
sometimes there's a tremendous discrepancy between the two, so I help people to recognize that they are here as divine beings and become the person that they are intended to be in this lifetime.
Having a coach to help you learn is probably the way to go if you want to find your intuitive powers.
Absolutely, and I think many people don't understand that. They feel that we're either born with psychic abilities or are having experiences as children, or we're not psychic. And it takes a sincere intent and coming from a spiritual perspective, and as you said, lots of practice. But anybody can do what I'm doing.
The one thing that's interesting to me, and should be to most, especially in this day and age, is using intuition in the workplace. Mm-hmm. When you work in an office and you have 7 or 8 people, what makes you stand outside the box? What makes you just that one step more important than the next person? And I guess if you have the ability to use your intuition, you will be outside the box compared to everybody else who just mulls through the day doing what they think they should be doing.
That's very true. It's actually a method of tapping into something higher, where you understand that we're not just operating from the 5 senses, but also that there is a 6th sense. Some people see the intuition as residing in the body, others see it as connecting to a divine power, but however you define it, there is something out there that we can tap into, and when using it in the workplace, it enhances creative ability also.
What about in relationships?
Well, it's a good way of intuiting what your partner is really thinking and feeling, and frequently one is not able to reveal that him or herself just because of issues or holding back an emotion, so it can be very helpful in a relationship.
Do you find that being in a relationship because you have this ability sometimes might scare men off?
Absolutely, and I think the more enlightened we become, if we follow this as a spiritual process also,
Right.
The more we become authentic to who we are, and in some ways become more difficult to relate to or less tolerant of others who are not willing to work on themselves or open to something larger.
What got you into this?
Actually, I saw the made-for-TV version of Shirley MacLaine's book Out on a Limb.
Okay.
And after having been on a traditional religious path for many years that never satisfied me, I was glued to the TV thinking, my God, this answers every question I've had my whole life. And it was about tapping into a higher power, being who you are. It tapped into psychic phenomena and reincarnation, all of which were totally new to me at the time. And that's when I formally started on my path.
How does one's life change when they decide that they're going to go on this path? In the natural progression of life, okay, how does one's life change? What's the beginning? What's the start?
I think the start is the understanding that there truly is something higher, and in my case it was learning that my thinking moved from belief in a traditional God to a belief in God or a higher power that is an energy of love. And it's not a distant power that perhaps judges us in some fashion, but an energy that we are very much 100% connected to. It is around us, inside of us, in all animate objects on the earth, and in that way everything is connected at one. So as one. So I think that's where we really have to start, is just the recognition that we are part of a very loving, benevolent universe that helps us all the time.
But do we change how we do things in life when we choose to take this path? Do we change the foods we eat? Do we change our social behaviors Okay? Do we change, if we're not married, our dating rituals? Do we change if we are married, our married rituals? Do we change the way we bring up our children? Does getting on this path change those things?
I think it does work its way down to a very practical human level, primarily in that when we realize we are connected to something that's so beautiful that it helps us to open our heart. And then that moves into all areas of our lives. Prior to my getting into this, I was in the computer field.
Okay.
And that is about as far left-brained as you can possibly be. And I decided at that point when I started on my path that I wanted to help people. So I moved from being in the computer field to teaching computer courses. And then while doing that was at a period of time when the AIDS epidemic was so much in the forefront, and I decided that I wanted to help people with AIDS. So I would do that on Saturdays at Johns Hopkins Hospital, return to the classroom on Monday mornings teaching about databases and operating systems and thinking, my God, what am I doing with my life? So I left a technical profession, devoted myself totally to helping people. I left a relationship because I wasn't being honored in the relationship, and that's part of the authenticity that I was talking about, to be respected for who we truly are and supported for who we truly are. So that made a major change in my relationship at the present time. And I think people need to learn that with the rearing of children, that children are not to be told to be like their mother or their father, or to play a particular role or behave in a certain way, but they should be nurtured to be who they are.
Since you're trying to follow this path of spiritual righteousness, I guess being human, we tend to fall off that path here and there. How do you feel when you fall off the path? Do you kind of look back and say, what did I do wrong? Why did I do that? And how do I get back on the path? I mean, again, the facts are the facts. You're never going to change my mind that we're still only human. Okay? And we're entitled to make mistakes. The answer about making mistakes is always to learn from those mistakes. So when you make a mistake and you fall off the path, are you hard on yourself about it? Or
sometimes, and I think that's the human side that you're talking about. No matter how much we recognize that we are a soul and a spirit, and we have that part of us that is tremendously divine, we're also very human. And it's easy to fall short and get caught up in the 3D. I'm very consciously working on that right now. As you mentioned, not judging people, and that's another way that we change. We become more conscious of our judgments, and that everyone is indeed different, but we respect those differences. So I'm always trying to do better, and will frequently reconnect, either through Saint Germain or doing some sort of meditation where I feel that I'm getting back into the higher energy, or take any stress out of my life so that I can be more tuned in and centered and not have those external circumstances that create static and cause me to get a little bit off.
Okay, we have a couple more minutes. Let me ask you this. Someone calls you, asks you a question, you kind of help them with the answer. Is that how you use your intuitive power?
People schedule an appointment with me, and what I do is channel their spirit guides and angels to answer their questions. And it's more in a counseling format than a psychic format, where they make me aware of any questions or problems or concerns that they have. And then in a therapeutic mode, I bring through intuitive information from their guides and angels to help them.
How does someone know who their guides are, or what their guides are?
That's frequently part of the channeling that I do. If that's one of the questions that the person has, then I tune in and I can tell them who is with them at that present time. We usually have 3 or 4 spirit guides that are with us throughout our lifetime, and others that come in and out as we have certain concerns during our life. And we do really have a guardian angel that is not only just with us in this lifetime, but with us from our inception at a soul level, and therefore remains with us as our closest friend throughout all of our incarnations.
Okay, if you could do anything in your life over again, what would it be?
To have started on a spiritual path sooner.
I guess it really doesn't make a difference how long you've been on the path, moreover than how well you follow the path.
Mm-hmm. It gives you a sense of appreciation for life and gratitude. And that's why I say I wish I had been on it longer, that had I had that appreciation of life.
He veered off in one direction, and I stayed on this other type of path. I guess that's normal for people.
It's very normal, and as you said, everything happens for a reason, not always the reason that we think.
Mm-hmm.
I began my spiritual path at the age of 40, and they say life begins at 40, and mine literally did. But people can flow in and out of our lives, and we always connect with the right people at the right time. We're always in the right place at the right time. And I believe very firmly that there is no such thing as coincidence. I like to refer to it as magical serendipity.
Okay, we have a minute left. Why don't you give out the information how people can reach you?
Again, I'm very easy to remember. Email contact@donnaedwards.com. And if you'd like to know more about me, that is www.donnaedwards.com.
I had a very enjoyable time with you today.